This is huge for Gareth Southgate. England versus Switzerland. It might be one of the most important games in his managerial career for England. In this video, we're going to break down the huge formation change that has just come out from multiple sources. We're playing a 3-5-2. Things could only get better. Let's be completely real. The Slovakia performance was absolutely shocking. It was one of the most embarrassing wins you're ever going to see in international football. And obviously, there's a massive narrative around results are fantastic. Beating Slovakia, it doesn't matter how it happens, but the performance against Slovakia cannot continue. And this is why England fans had so much trepidation based on what happened in the earlier rounds of Euro 2024. Even the international friendlies against Iceland, against Bosnia, why things were so concerning. But we're going to talk about the positives because I'm so gassed we're back five. I've been tweeting about it all week. It must seem a little bit strange because a lot of people are still attached to this idea that Gareth Southgate can manage a 4-3-3. It's an absolute travesty if you think he can. It's not about the idea that England should be better than playing a 5. Of course, England, with the quality we have, with the players that are potentially going to be winning Ballon d'Ors at Real Madrid, winning Premier League titles 4 in a row at Man City like Phil Foden and so many other talents, this England side should be absolutely embarrassed that it has to play a back 5. And that's down to the lack of quality in the managerial department. That is just the reality of the situation. If someone offered me a Ferrari to drive around, I wouldn't be able to drive it. I can only drive line bikes. That's what I don't have a license. I don't have a driving license. And Gareth Southgate does not have a license to be driving this England side in a 4-3-3. That is just the reality. He isn't good enough as a manager. And when you have a back 5, it reduces all the risk of his managerial incompetence. And I say that as politely as humanly possible. A back 5 brings so many more assets to Gareth Southgate's lineup. It's unbelievable. Let's just start off with the back 5 itself. It gives you a great excuse to play Saka as a kind of left winger, left wing back. It gives you the quality of him defensively. It gives you the quality of him on his left foot. He provides that ball on the outside for Harry Kane when he's bombing forward. Look at Luke Shaw in the Euro 2021 campaign in certain formations where there was a back 5. It is very, very special. And when you can overlap with someone like Saka and his pace, it's unbelievable. It's not just about him playing left back when he used to for Arsenal. It's about he used to play left back very, very well for Arsenal as well. He used to bomb past people. He's fantastic. I get the idea that he doesn't think he deserves to be playing left back based on what he's done at right wing for a side that have been fantastic in Arsenal. But sometimes you just have to just bury the hatchet and get on with it. There's only a few games left. Play left wing back. Do your job, in my opinion. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh. Right wing back then also becomes as exciting. It's so exciting. It's beautiful. Right wing back, you get Trent in there. He's protected. All that defensive frailty narrative, you can't really talk about it anymore because he can do a job right wing back. If anything gets past him, you've got Kyle Walker as the right-sided centre-back who had a fantastic 2018 World Cup doing that. People saying Kyle Walker is a centre-back in a 4 is very, very concerning for me because I've basically never seen it as a City fan. And Spurs fans wouldn't have seen it, but we've seen it many times with him as a 3, and it works beautifully. That also strengthens his limitations. He's had a really poor game against Slovakia. There's no question about it, Kyle Walker. It's one of the worst games I've probably ever seen him have in the last 8 years, to be completely honest. His touch on the ball was poor. I don't think the pitch has been fantastic, but there was something about his play that was so poor. I think this guy's just running on fumes. I think he's really fatigued. I think a lot of the England players are. And Kyle Walker protects himself playing with another 2 centre-backs and having Trent on the other side. He's less exposed. Trent's less exposed. Trent can bomb forward. He can whip things on his right foot around to Harry Kane as well. Harry Kane's in dreamland. It's unbelievable. Then also, Trent can tuck into midfield as well and kind of create overlaps or underlaps, as you call them, when you go into midfield. I think that's a beautiful little situation. Declan Rice and Kobbie Mainoo offer a lot of cover in the ground. In the 2018 World Cup, people are going to talk to me on this video about how Modric got on the ball and was knocking things around and pinned our fullbacks back in the back 5. A back 5 allows the midfield of the opposition to kind of get up the pitch and knock it around. I don't believe Xhaka is Modric. And I also think we only had Jordan Henderson at the time. Now we've got Kobbie Mainoo, who does a better role than Jordan Henderson on the ball in terms of giving England 5-10% more of the ball than Jordan Henderson ever did. And Declan Rice. With Trent. So you've got these kind of unbelievable midfield talents protected with the back 5. It means that Konsa, John Stones, who can also, be very mobile, powerful centre-backs, they're all protected with Kobbie Mainoo and Declan Rice in front. It's like the perfect scenario. It's the perfect scenario for Gareth Southgate. And then on top of that, the cherry on top of the cake. Can you tell how excited I am by a 3-5-2? It's unbelievable. Or a 3-4-3. Phil Foden can come narrow to get the ball because of the width of Saka. Bellingham can come narrow to get the ball and get into the box because of the width of Trent. They can all double bank into the midfield and protect the midfield when Switzerland have the ball. So you become a kind of a 5-4-1 off the ball, which is very, very negative. Of course it is. But it allows England to be a counter-attacking side and not fall into this trap where England have to be the dominant side. England have to be the side that are on the ball. With a 4, you get so exposed. And Slovakia were able to cut through us like butter. It was Lurpak salted or maybe unsalted. It was ludicrous how easy it was for Slovakia, side ranked in the 50s in the world, were able to cut through this England back line. It was a little bit embarrassing at points, really. And again, it goes back to this idea that Gareth Southgate does not have the managerial acumen to manage a top side, coach them how to press in an organised fashion, coach them how to create patterns of play on the ball. It's not easy at international level to replicate what Guardiola does at Man City or Arteta at Arsenal. But the real gaps in his managerial acumen against Slovakia were so apparent. This formation, in my opinion, gives him the ability to get Bellingham, Foden, Trent, Saka, Kyle Walker, Rice, Maino, Stones, so basically everyone. Even Jordan Pickford gets protected more with 5 centre-backs, 5 defenders. I think it's a win-win for everyone involved. And I'm glad it's happening. I think Mark Gahey getting kind of taken out is probably the best thing to have happened to Gareth Southgate this tournament on some level, which is crazy. And it is a damn indictment on this kind of future of England. The under-21's doing so well, Cole Palmer, all these players playing, tick-attackers, beautiful football. It's a damn indictment that our England manager has to revert to a back 5 against Switzerland in the knockout stages of the tournament. It probably says a lot about regression versus progression with this England side, but it doesn't matter. No, England fans would take 0-0-0-0-0-0-0 win the European Championship if it meant winning on penalties. It doesn't matter how you win it. England have to win something, and England have to be beating these sides. If England were playing Germany right now, I'd almost take a loss. Because they've been so good, so scintillating. The England fans are crying and moaning like I am perpetually on YouTube because it's Serbia, it's Slovenia, it's Slovakia, it's Denmark, with all due respect. And finally, this game against Switzerland is the perfect opportunity to right the wrongs of the back 4, that the 4-2-3-1 that has just not been working. It feels like years ago when the tournament started. We had Trent in midfield picking up the ball when if he lost the ball, there's only 4 players behind him. No defensive cover. Now he's got so much ability to be the kind of player that he wants to be. When the ball is on the other side, he can come across as well. He's got so much freedom with 3 defenders behind him. I think it's unbelievable. So, or even 4 if you count Saka, if he tucks in as well. So it becomes, maybe in points, it becomes that back 4. It becomes that back 4 when England have the ball, and Trent can overload a midfield. It becomes a Maino, Rice, Trent midfield with Bellingham, Foden, Saka all bombing on as well ahead of him, and of course Harry Kane. And we have to talk about Harry Kane because he's scored a couple of goals for England. He's been, I think, decent at points. When he has been decent, he's been good. And then basically the performances where he's been shocking, he's been really, really shocking, if that makes sense. He flourishes with 2 players like Foden and Bellingham around him. And you can always switch it up half-time. If it's not working, God forbid we're 1-0 down, Ivan Toney can come in, join up with Harry Kane, and you've still got that protection. You can play 2 strikers in a formation like this with proper wing fullbacks that can whip the ball in. I think it's genius. I think it makes perfect sense. It's the golden ratio of football. Southgate back 5, but with far better players to be able to do it. Far more experience. The back 5 that got England to the semi-final should have got England, 60 minutes away from getting England to a World Cup final for the first time since '66. Had an old Ashley Young, Dele Alli, Jesse Lingard, Harry Maguire, Marcus Rashford, Jordan Henderson. This one's got Saka, Trent, Walker, Stones, Conso's in the Champions League now, Harry Kane up front, Bellingham, Foden, Cole Palmer can come in and influence things. Even Gordon, you can switch it up and play him at left wing back. You could get Luke Shaw into this side as well and hopefully give him some minutes. So things can only get better, lads. And I think we're going to smash the Swiss 3-0. If we lose to them at this point, then I give up on international football, because England should not be losing to Switzerland. I don't care how good they are. Look at Austria. They were the media darling, the football hipster darling of Euro 2024, and they got battered by Turkey, who are, in my opinion, more of a footballing nation than Austria. Maybe I'm a bit rude saying that, but we should be beating Switzerland in the knockout stage of a tournament. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. I'll be obviously watching the game and covering it on this channel straight after on Saturday.